Hi everyone, today I'm doing this lovely trend by this artist on TikTok. Please check them out. It's where you do like a brain tour. So I'm drawing my brain. Well, what's going on inside of my brain? So today it's a draw with me. It's for Vlogmas Day 3. Welcome. I'm an artist and also I'm chronically ill and I vlog about my experiences and I draw a lot, so please stick around for more of that and maybe subscribe. It's so cringy to say that. But this was a quick sketch. I used the presets of the Procreate brushes. I used the pencils to do the base sketch, but I also used the darker shade to do the sketch over it, which is just the line art over it actually, but I prefer that sketchy look because if I use the ink brush, it looks too traced over, but really I was just tracing over my own messy sketch. So I like to use the pencils because it gives it a more unique artisty feel, whereas the ink work feels too produced almost. So this is just the sketch. The teeth were kind of hard. I kept like pulling my mouth open to look at my own teeth because I didn't just want to use like a normal model's teeth for a reference. I wanted to use my own teeth since this is my head and I have really crooked messed up teeth. I've always needed braces and I've never gotten them. So my teeth kind of are very gapped and overlapping and yeah, they're pretty janky, but I wanted to give it the most realism feel as I could. Even though this is an illustration and obviously not realism, I wanted it to look as much like me as possible so you would know that this is my head and what's going on inside of it. Though I did give myself a more realism on the outside, because I wanted the outside to be like real life, whereas the inside of my head is all cartoony because I'm obsessed with animation and I have been since I could speak. So I wanted this to really relay that, whereas everything in my head is like obsessed with animation and cartoons. So it looks like a cartoon in my brain because that's how I think of it, almost like Inside Out with all the emotions, but it's just me piloting my body. Though my body is quite jank, so I tried to relay that as well. So it's very cluttered in there, like my real brain, because I can never stay on topic for too long. So an overcluttered brain is precisely what it is like in real life, because I change from one topic to the other. And I went for a console type vibe, like a car. And I even put like stereos for the ears, so it's blasting in my head, and I feel like that's really good to represent my autism because I get overstimulated by loud noises, so everything is amplified in my head, so the stereos are like blaring in the co-pilot's ears, and they're like, I can't pilot this freaking body, the freaking noise is too loud and I can't turn it down. These stereos are crazy. So I feel like that was very accurate to what it's like to be inside my brain. I spent an insane amount of time doing the details though, because I have so many interests and, well, who doesn't? But I wanted to add so many freaking tiny details, and honestly, I probably shouldn't have added that many details because who's gonna zoom in and look at all the fine details that I did? But, you know, it matters to me. I might be a little too detailed oriented though, because it takes forever for me to make a piece and finish it because I want to add so many little things that no one is even gonna notice except me. But that also goes for mistakes. So if I make a mistake, nobody's seeing that piece. I'm like, I see the mistake, they're gonna see it, but no, nobody's gonna notice it. It's a tiny thing. So that is frequent as well. And as you notice, I did not add an overhead light, and that is for a reason. We have no overhead light in the brain. It's all soft lighting. It's dim. It's to help the chill vibes, because it's gotta be chill in the brain or we're gonna have sensory overload. Though the ears The stereos, I can't control the stereos. They're just on all times because my ears don't stop unless the outside Mandy puts on her ear defenders. I put a shelf in the corner as well with a bunch of books with my memories and stuff, and it has old art categorized, and it has a bunch of my interest as well, like memes, and of course Taylor Swift. We had to add Taylor Swift. If you don't know that about me, I'm a huge Swiftie. I went to her concert in Canada, and I did a vlog about it, and it was one of the best times of my life, and nothing will ever be that good again, which is depressing, but also amazing. But yeah, so we had to have Taylor Swift in there. And of course, there will be anime men coming up because, as we know, I'm a freaking cringe weeaboo, okay? I haven't heard the word weeaboo in so freaking long. I don't know why I decided to bring it back up. I used to be a worse weeaboo though, and it was bad. Like, I make the class listen to Miku Hatsune. It's really not a shocker why I got bullied, but yeah, nobody deserves to be bullied no matter how cringe they are, okay? Also, you can see my journal, which is on that console thing that I made, and I journal constantly, so of course that would be in my brain, because I forget everything in like a second. So I'm always writing things down so I don't lose memories, because I want to remember things, and my memory is like a goldfish, and it's really, really frustrating. So the only way I can remember things is journaling. So that is what I do constantly. I have like 5 journals, and they're all full, and I go through them so fast because I write every day. I also added cup holders in my console, which is just insane, but I added Gatorade because I have to drink a certain amount of Gatorade a day because I have postural orthostatic tachycardia, other known as POTS, which makes me faint if I'm not hydrated, and I have to eat a certain amount of salt as well to retain fluid because my heart rate goes up to like 200 and then I pass out, so it normalizes. So I drink Gatorade a lot, so that's gotta be in my console. And then the coffee that I'm not supposed to drink is also in my console because I love coffee, okay? And as you see, the sketch is finished, so I lowered the opacity on it and then I just drew over it with another pencil, but it is the 6B, not the Nerander, I think is what the other one is called. And so it's more of a straight line and cleaner, but it still has a textured line, and I really like how that is. I drew the light source so I knew where the light was coming from so I could shade correctly. It's a technique to know where the light is hitting. So I imagine that's like the sun or a lamp or whatever, and imagine where the light's hitting. Though I didn't actually use that for this project because I wanted to make the brain a very dark place. So you'll see that in the coloring later, but I wanted to make it dim except for the low lighting because that's what I imagine my brain would be. It'd be a very dark, comforting place. Almost like my thoughts. Sometimes they're extremely dark and not comforting, but my brain is always a little bit dim. Actually, that sounded offensive, but it's kind of true. I've been told that I should have been born a blonde, which is hurtful, but a little bit true. I also just realized something that's really, really frustrating is that I forgot to add the stars to the Taylor Swift cardigan that I'm wearing inside my brain and outside my brain, because how can you know it's a Taylor Swift cardigan without the stars? It's specifically the Midnight's one because it's my favorite cardigan, though that's not my favorite album. My favorite album is the Tortured Poets Department or Folklore. But sorry for that little rant. I just realized it and got extremely upset. Because as I said, I'm very perfectionist coded. Oh, that was another art piece that just slammed up into the page. That's because I wanted to add art of mine into my brain. So I added some of my favorite art pieces into my brain and they're like seared into it. There are art I have done, and that was Astarion. and he's from Baldur's Gate. I'm obsessed with him. I love Baldur's Gate. It's my favorite video game of all time. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but, well, you can play multiplayer, but I only play single player because I have no friends. Well, I do have friends. They just don't play video games. Well, 2 friends. It doesn't count if one of them is my sister. Anyway, that's another story in art. Just moving on from the sad fact of the no friends. Anyway, that was my character who looks like me. That in my first playthrough, she's a draconic sorcerer. And that was me in Astarian dancing, of course. And also we had Hayley Williams' The Great Impersonator album stuck on the other stereo because that has been repeat in my ears, one of my favorite albums. So of course it's on the stereo. I added a Taylor Swift poster in the back as well because, of course, I've already talked about Taylor Swift and my cardigan obsession. I own every single one except the red cardigan, and it's extremely sad because I am a completionist and need to complete my cardigan collection. So if you know where to get one from a reseller who purchases them and sells them for the right price, I would get it. But the resellers sell them for like insane prices when they're only $70, not only $70, when they're $70 to begin with, and then people sell them for like $500 or more. I'm not buying that. I made the whole background of my brain pink, obviously, for obvious reasons, because it's all pink and brainy in there. And as you will notice, the stereo is on this gray piece, which is part of my jaw, is what I was thinking. And I wanted to add rust, but I wasn't sure what to do about it or how to go about doing that. So I didn't do that, but I put my repressed memories down there because they're forgotten about. Because I can't remember a lot of my childhood, but I remember there's things that I don't want to remember, so that's there. And I also have TMJ, which is due to my Ehlers-Danlos, so my jaw like pops a lot and locks. So that's why I wanted to make the jaw part rusty, but I didn't, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. I also added a domo at the top. Not a lot of people know what domos are. I don't know, they're like these monster things. It used to be an animation and you could only get it on YouTube. My sister, one of them, introduced me to Domo when I was little, and I've been obsessed with it since ever. And I did an overlay and lightened the opacity and placed it over all the colors inside the brain and erased around the face so that wasn't dim. So it gave the brain a dark shade. Also, if you notice, I have Fourth Wing in there. That's my favorite book of all time. And I could not decide on the background. That's why it changed like 50 times. I really liked how the fairy lights turned out because I placed the layer above every single one to make them brighter than everything else, so it made the brain shine. And here's the final piece, and I'm really happy. Actually, I lied. It's not the final piece yet. I did shading on the outside, and I changed the background again. But here is the final piece. I hope you liked it, and I hope you liked listening to me ramble about how I created the piece, and let me know what you think. And if you try this challenge down below, I'd love to see it. So tell me if you do, or make a video, or tag me in it on Instagram. I'd love to see it. I love everybody's little interest or niche interest. I like how everybody's so uniquely themselves and has so much different interest. So thank you so much for watching so far, and remember, most importantly, everyone, to stay weird.